32 and single, and without fail, anytime I do any kind of Q&A or ask me anything, I get the same top two questions. Do I want to get married? And do I want to have children? And so I thought it might be worthwhile to bring that conversation here. The short answer is yes. I do want to get married and I do want to have kids. The long answer is yes, but not at any cost. See, the thing is, I was always the girl. I thought that I was going to get married and have kids super young. In my 20s, I was always in relationships, and I can't tell you how many times I was a nanny or a babysitter or a dance teacher, really anything that involved children. But at the same time, the guys that I chose in my 20s, they were not husband material, let's put it that way. I also grew up with a mother, an amazing mother, who was unfortunately taught that her sole value in life was to be a wife and a mom. And let me just be really clear, if you derive the most amount of value in your life from being a wife and a mom, I am not knocking that. I just grew up watching a woman who is beautiful and smart and capable and creative, and who I suspect would have been much happier if her whole world was not just being a mom. And so all of these things that I saw and or experienced really impacted me. And so when I say yes, but not at any cost, it is because I feel like I've looked around at my life and the lives of the women close to me, and I started to figure out what that cost is. And as far as I can tell, the cost is a woman's whole life. I'm really not even trying to be dramatic. To join your life with a man, which is what I would do since I'm unfortunately straight, to join your life with a man and bring a child into the world, it puts your health and your happiness and your fulfillment in a vulnerable position. And so if I'm gonna do that, if I'm going to risk my health and my happiness, I am gonna do it with the Rolls Royce of partners. If I were to get pregnant while single, that's just a whole other conversation. I think that single moms are legitimately superheroes. But if I am teaming up with a man, first of all, I always think if my child were to turn out like that man, no changes, no edits, would I be proud? Then I have to think about communication. What are his conflict resolution skills? Assessing a man's character is also a really big thing for me. Things like loyalty or sexual discipline, being a man of your word. Do you respect me and women in general? And I mean when I'm in the room, when I'm not in the room, and when there are no women in that room at all. Because I find that most men are actually boys when they think no one is watching. And then here's the real kicker, and this one's tough. Why do you want to have kids? Because if your answer is to create a little mini-me or carry on the family name and legacy, ding, 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 that's a bell. My child will be taught that they can be whoever they want to be, as long as they are kind and honest and do good unto others. That's pretty much it. And I'm not gonna have their father instill guilt in them because they didn't become who he wanted them to be. Now, if you're someone that's asking these questions or even wondering about them, chances are it's coming from one of three places. Place number one, you're genuinely curious. Place number two, you are my age or younger. You're probably looking around, comparing your timeline to others, feeling a little bit of that am I behind anxiety and wondering if I feel the same way. Or you could be older than me, looking at me thinking, I wonder what her values are, or I wonder how her life feels compared to mine. I don't really know. That one's a little bit hard to say. Whatever the case, I feel like it's ridiculous to pretend that there isn't still social currency in the engagement and the wedding and the babies, because there just is. And not from everyone, but there is definitely still that element of pity when I speak about being single to people who are not single. I just want to say that it's okay if sometimes that makes you feel sad. I am truly happy being single. That doesn't mean that there aren't days where I'm crying and I'm sad and I'm lonely. I would rather deal with the consequence-free days of sadness than pay the very high cost of being a wife and a mom without it being on my own terms and up to my standards.